If you are just joining us, we are making a blue dot Minky diaper, as the title suggests. And we have our snaps put in, and this is what it looks like. This is the right side of the diaper. I actually could have done a better job of getting the nap to go. I just noticed the nap actually goes sideways, but that's okay. At least you can, it's smooth both directions. This is actually just a scrap piece of fabric, so it doesn't matter that much. Alright, so when I put the right side down, I should have the shiny side of the pull, or PUL, facing up. Actually, I need it the other way, because we're going to go ahead and assemble this. Now, notice that I'm kind of off a little bit. Let's show you on this side because it'll be easier to see. I'm actually just going to fudge that when I sew it. I'm going to push it that direction on this side, and I'm going to pull it that direction on this side. Both of these pieces of fabric are stretchy, both the PUL and the Minky, and so you're never going to see it. I'm just going to fudge it a little bit. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the shiny side of this holy PUL facing the ceiling. Shiny side up. That means that we have the shiny side up on this side, and we have the shiny side up on this side. And when you turn it, they will be shiny sides facing each other. And that actually creates like a little bag or a little pocket for the soaker. In this case, you'll insert the soaker right down into the middle here. You'll tuck it under the flaps at this end, you'll tuck it under the flap at this end. And the reason that you want to do that is so that baby can pee right down into the middle, right down onto the soaker. And this kind of a cover, if it just gets peed on, you can just replace the insert and not have to replace the entire diaper like you would a pocket or an all-in-one. So I'm going to just sew around the outside here, and we'll come back. Let's lay this in the fabric here, in the machine here. I'm going to start at the longest run, just because this is really squirrely fabric, and I'm afraid that it's going to get really messy quickly. I'm using a walking foot so that hopefully it won't stretch my fabric too much. I don't use any pens or tacks or clips or wonder clips, I think that's what they're called. I don't know. I just line it up and stick it in the machine. I like to wing it. You guys can use whatever you want. Pens, clips, doesn't matter. Alright, I had it on 4. Let's move it back down to 3. The stitch length, that's my average stitch length. Oh, this is going to sew pretty nicely, I think. So sorry, I hit the camera. You alright? You need a bowl or a trash can to throw up in? Alright, so I'm just going to sew around here. I'm going to skip ahead so that you don't have to sit here and watch me sew this entire thing. But if you want to watch me sew an entire diaper, I recommend the Sew With Me series. There's some couple of playlists available. At the moment they're not complete, but they will be pretty soon. Alright, I've sewn all the way around it. Now we will mark for our elastics and cut the corners for turning. Alright, so let's pin on a little bit. I stretched it just a little bit, so it's a little squirrely, but when it gets turned, it won't be. Alright, so I'm just gonna line this up. I'm gonna mark it on the side of the PUL with the hole. It'd be easier to transfer it to the outside that way. I'll show you. So now that I have it marked, oh, actually I need to do the back, the regular ink pen. grab a disappearing marker and transfer those marks to the outside. I use my fingernail. I just kind of poke it with my fingernail and then turn it. And go way up in there compared to the OMMO pattern. Alright, almost done. There we go. Now we need to cut the corners so that we don't have so much bulk when we turn. I'm cutting about 1/8 of an inch away from the corner. I just like to trim away the excess seam allowance there. On this pattern there's a kind of a curve, and I like to get rid of some of that excess there too. Making a mess. It's a blast. Somebody needs to tell me how lame my jokes are. Throw this away. Now let's turn this. I like to use the screwdriver that came with my snap pliers. Sharp and pointy. They make this cool thing called a bodkin. I think it's used to pull elastic through, but sometimes they come with a sharp pointy object to help turn as well. Oh my goodness, this Minky is so cool. It's the first time I've used it. I think I'll be making that other piece. Remember, I had just enough to make another one of these. I think I will be doing exactly that. A lot of fabric in there. I think it'll be okay though. Doesn't look like it's preventing the corner from being sharp. Alright, so just shove this screwdriver up into the corner, sharpen it. You know what? I don't think I'm gonna top stitch this. Well, I take that back. The corners look nice, but that part there doesn't want to stay folded. I don't know. I have some time to decide how I'm going to do this Minky here. Minky. I didn't even know it was called that until I joined a cloth diaper group. The Fluff Love photo stream. Minky. It's a cute name. There's the outside. That's what that's going to look like. I might not top stitch it. We'll see what my elastic casings look like. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and make the elastic casings. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to sew a channel, and I'm not going to close up the ends because I need to be able to stick a safety pin and elastic down in there. So I'm just going to sew a channel down the edges. Now I made this mistake on the last one of this exact same pattern that I did, and the mistake was I'm still using my 3/8 inch elastic. In a newborn pattern I could probably get away with using a skinnier elastic. The problem is I want it to have nice good bounce because the legs of the baby I'm making this for are really skinny, and so it needs to bounce back. Now the mistake that I made was I made my elastic casing a little bit too skinny, and it made the elastic tight in there. You want to sort of err on the large side. If you don't know how big to make your elastics, don't err on the small side, because it kind of takes the bounce away from the elastic if you make the casing too skinny for it to slide through. So I'm going to try not to make that mistake this time. I'm going to go ahead and make my elastic casings on both the two sides as well as the back. I no longer need the walking foot. Let's go ahead and get rid of that. Go back to our multi-purpose, all-purpose 0. Alright, I'm going to start with the back. And you can see my little line there. I'm going to start there. Now to get the edges of the seam to come all the way out of the diaper, I just kind of rub it real hard until it comes all the way out there. I'm going to give it quite a bit of allowance there. Just want to make sure it's going to be big enough. Back stitch for this section, because you don't want your inserting the elastics to cause your stitching to come out. This isn't too hard to sew, this Minky stuff. Back stitch. Alright, let me show you what that looks like. Now I have a tube for me to stick the elastic in. It's going to go in one end and out the other. It's going to be sewn down on the both ends. Let me go ahead and do the sides exactly the same way, and I'll check back in a second. Okay, now I have the elastics cased on all 3 elastics. Next up, we're going to insert the elastic.